Hey guys, welcome to this week's patch analysis with Alliance, this time brought to you by HyperX. You can see these amazing headsets that we're wearing. Thank you so much, HyperX, for sponsoring us. In today's week, we're mainly just going to touch on the biggest changes because there's quite a lot of minor changes to heroes and tweaks, but we'll only be talking about the ones that we feel affect the game the most. So yeah, Tommy, what do you think? What's the biggest change in your opinion?
My opinion is that my biggest change is of course like IO. Like IO now is way easier to play, and especially now that he was strong before with when people run handful damage on that hero. Like from what I see a lot of people playing the mid IO and stuff now. And now that they like made it a bit stronger, like you can target the spell immunity targets with the Tira. I think that's really a big change because like now that the hero is easier to play, you can like also easily execute his spells.
Yeah.
In my opinion, on the spears, like you can also jungle in pop. So I think like I now it's like actually easier to win than before because you can spend more time in the jungle because the spear deals more damage to the neutral creeps, right?
Yeah. No, I feel like Wisp was really strong. The hero was pretty strong before when they made it so that you get the same movement speed as the person each other.
Yeah.
I think when they did that already, the hero became a lot stronger like than before. And then adding like this on top of it makes the hero like maybe a bit over the top. We'll see. But I do think it's a bit sad that they removed the scale element of the wisps. I don't know how you feel about that.
Scale.
Like the skill, like they had to really like be good at pushing it out and in. Now it's just two modes.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Or do you feel like whatever?
It's like whatever for me. What I don't like about the hero in general is that if you teeter someone, you have the same movement speed as that target you're teetering, right? Or if you get slowed by Venu or something, but like you don't get slowed. Like that's kind of weird. Like I don't think it's supposed to be like that. You want to focus the IO, right, when they teeter someone.
Right.
But you can't slow him down because like he's just as fast as he is, you know. So you need to target the guy who is like his tier 2, slow him or something, and then target IO after.
And then go for the wisp, yeah.
So it's like, shouldn't be like that, I feel like.
I think the first creep wave no longer draws aggro change is also very big. Especially for offlaners, like, they have a way harder time now of getting lane control. And I think it was a really stupid mechanic the way that it worked, or the way people abused it. How do you feel?
For me now that I used to play offlane a lot, but in my opinion, for what I can see now, is that if you can't pull the first wave anymore, I don't think the carry can also aggro the first wave either, right? Like tank before.
Yeah.
So it means that there's like two ways you can play the lane. I was like, for example, you pick Shaker, you block your own waves like 2 times, and then you get a double wave against them, like lane control in the beginning, get level 2 fast. Or you can go to the enemy short lane, like before you pull the first wave, you can block the first wave instead with the fissure.
So the wave goes into tower?
Yes, because the carry cannot tank the wave.
That's so stupid.
It runs straight to the tower.
Oh my god.
and then you get a lane control.
Oh my god.
Don't you think, the offlane always do the surprising things, Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's the same with Tusk and Clockwork too.
I'm so disappointed, Tommy. What is this shit?
What do you mean?
Oh my god.
What can you do? Like, you can't even tank
I can already imagine this happening to me. Like, an Earthshaker just runs and blocks off my wave, and my carry's wave goes into this tower, and my game is ruined, and I can't do anything about it.
Oh my god. Well, you have to expect things coming from them, You never.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the offlaners are gonna have to do something to try to get lane control. I think the heroes that do get lane control, like naturally, like Enigma, Lich, Shaker, like you said, these heroes are kind of buffed indirectly by this change because they have ways of getting lane control. So we might see a bit more of those heroes. I think again, Darkseer was one of the heroes that got buffed a lot, but also Darkseer doesn't really care about lane control, so indirectly also buffed by this change in the patch. Expect to see that hero a lot now at Epicenter. But yeah, outside of that, there was some item changes. I feel like primarily they reduced attack speed components from some of the major damage items in the game and added damage to them instead. which is MKB and Maelstrom. I think that might have a and Abyssal Blade.
Yeah.
That might have a gameplay impact as well.
It's also that they changed the javelin from the Basha to what it's called, Mithril something.
Mithril Hammer.
Mithril Hammer.
Yeah.
So that like for example, on heroes like Pangolia, you know, you wanna get javelin into a Basha like later into the game.
Yeah.
And you can't do that, so it's kind of slightly a bit nerf for me. I feel like, but in for Maelstrom, it kind of be like a buff as well for other heroes like Windrunner, for example. It's like now that they can go first item Maelstrom on that hero, and the item is slightly a bit stronger now, and so you can push out waves way more easy with that hero. So it's
yeah, and she never really used the attack speed, so this is only a buff to her buying Maelstrom. I heard some things about OD, like to buy Monkey King Bar a lot before because it gave him a lot of attack speed, but that's no longer the case. So I think some heroes like are indirectly affected by these changes, but as a whole, the items pretty much remain the same. I don't think their power level isn't changed. It's mainly like some heroes use them better or worse.
Yeah.
So Techies was introduced to Captain's Mode, and I mean I'm not a fan of the hero. I don't personally think it belongs in Captain's Mode or in Dota 2 for that matter. But obviously, if you ask people, everyone's gonna have a hero that they feel doesn't belong in the game. So, how do you feel about it? I'm not really too sure if it's gonna be a popular pick or not.
I mean,
I don't think so though.
For sure, in my opinion, I'm gonna see that maybe like a lot of players gonna make some random shit with Techies now. Like, I can see like Keisu, for example, one. Instantly when patch came out, he went to demo hero, practice Techies. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I don't want to see that hero in my games, you know. Like, if we ever gonna play, either that hero needs to be banned or we pick it ourselves. It's like, there's no way I wanna play against Techies. Like, the game's gonna be like 2 hours long.
I feel like the team out of the EU regional qualifier teams, the team most likely to use the hero is Mad Lads. They like to play these like 90-minute games. So it does make sense in some aspects, but I think if any tier 1 team picks it up, it's probably gonna be one of those like weird position 4 players, I think. I don't think it's gonna be played by the offlaners. I'm not sure. I feel the hero is so weird. I think he is actually really strong, but you gotta know how to use him and kind of play around him. Oh yeah, they nerfed Terrorblade quite a bit. This hero's been pretty dominant for a while, which I think it's a good change. He needed some kind of nerfs, and targeted Sunder mainly, and the Reflection you can now purge, which I both think were pretty good changes. I don't really feel like you want to change anything too major about him because there are ways to deal with the hero, but maybe he was a tad bit too strong.
Yeah.
So Force Staff mana cost has gone up from 25 to 100. I think this mainly affects like these melee strength heroes that like Slardar, like Sand King, more so like not the support heroes that buy it, but rather the maybe position 4 and 3s. Because those heroes are the ones that suffer from a small mana pool. The other ones, I think, they're generally going to be able to spare the 75 mana. So we might see some more like Yules, or perhaps even Glimmer Capes and stuff like this coming out from those heroes prior to the Force Staff. Like, maybe you go Yules into Force, or you just go a Glimmer Cape because you want some kind of defensive team supportive item. Welcome to our new segment called Stomp Your Pubs. In this segment, we're going to be talking about how we feel that you can best abuse this patch to win your pub games in the next 2 weeks. So what do you think, Tommy? I feel like generally when you talk about pub stomping heroes, it's gonna be these heroes that are really good at getting a lot of farm and then like outputting a lot of damage. Like, I see Ember Spirit, which comes to mind for me. I feel like Ember Spirit is a pretty good pub stomp hero. Got a bit of buffs. Could see him be a bit more popular now than before.
For me, obviously, I'm gonna think about Io straightforward. Like,
yeah. I mean, as a support, I think this was probably.
It's also you can play it as a core, you know. Now in pubs, I see people win with it a lot.
True. That's true.
Core.
Yeah.
Like, if you actually can micro the him for damage, you can actually do so much with Io, and you can even like win games solo with the hero.
Yeah.
Like, that hero is just straightforward, really strong in this patch.
Yeah. I think Morphling was already a really good pub stomp hero. But now they changed his talents a bit. Like they gave it some small buffs, but I think this hero is still really, really strong in the patch. Not really necessarily because of changes that happened, but maybe more so the previous changes to the hero. So I think Morphling is probably going to be continue to be one of the best pub stomping heroes. Okay, last but not least, Tommy, uh, what do you feel about this patch? Like, how would you rate this patch?
Uh, like for every 2 weeks since then, I feel like this patch is super big, like really big. Like, I don't know. I think it's the biggest patch since then. So for the like for the if you compare this patch to the other small patches, yeah. So I would rate it like 4 out of 5 because of Techies, or otherwise it would be 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I personally feel like this patch, overall, they nerfed Rubik, makes me pretty sad. So that's definitely -1 Techies. They they did give Veno a 2-second buff on his ultimate though, so that's
I see.
I like that. I like that. I think as a whole, I probably give this patch a solid 5 out of 7 Techies. It's a pretty good patch. Oh yeah, also there's been a lot of discussion about like patch frequency, and there was some Reddit drama going on with some professional players sharing their opinions on maybe like patches shouldn't be released a day before the major, and if they are, obviously some teams should not have more information than others. What do you think about that?
Well,
Like, do you feel like they should time the patches to like when tournaments are? Like, wait for the major to end and then release a patch?
uh, well, they can't. I think making a big patch before the major is kind of wrong in my opinion. Like if you have those some small patches, like then it I don't think it should affect the game too much. But like a big patch, like you enable Techies into captain's mode, like just right before the majors, and all those hero changes, for example, I think is it actually has a huge impact on it in the game.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the best way to do it is, I agree with Tommy, where like if you're releasing a smaller patch, then you don't need to kind of like adjust to the tournament cycle or tempo or whatever. But I think they should try to line up these bigger patches with post tournaments. But I also understand the difficulty of doing that, because most likely the patches that we're getting now, they start testing these after the last tournament. And so because of how many tournaments there are, it's hard to like have time to test a patch and then release it after a tournament, and for it still to be relevant, because the metas kind of shift a bit between tournament to tournament and people figure out new things. So if they wait too long, their patches might just be irrelevant. So there is definitely a struggle in there. I'm not really sure which way is right or wrong, but I think this big of a patch a day before the major is probably not the way to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Alright guys, thank you for listening to us babble on about the patch. You've heard our thoughts for quite a while now, but we want to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think are going to be the strongest heroes of the patch? How do you feel like you're best going to be able to manipulate your pubs in order to win, abusing these new changes? And again, a huge shout out to HyperX for sponsoring this video, and see you guys in 2 weeks. Happy Alliance.
Happy Alliance.
You're so stupid.